Great. Thanks a lot, everyone, for joining. Greetings to all, whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening, whichever time zone you are from. I appreciate you joining us today for this telecom webinar. I hope your day is going exceptionally well till now. So, for today, we are diving into a very stimulating topic, which is driving success in customer acquisition and retention. Your attendance is greatly valued for us. So allow me to start with the introduction of myself and AI Course Spot to you. My name is Nitin Naveen, and I serve as the Vice President of Innovation and Strategy at AI Course Spot. With nearly a couple of decades of experience in different consulting firms that has navigated emerging technologies, I'm privileged to have collaborated with many stakeholders and global thinkers, absorbing their inventive ideas and the solutions. So today I have been joined by a couple of my colleagues. Arvind is there, and in the back end we have Naveed, who are also present to contribute their dynamism to our session. Their commitment and endeavor in shaping this event deserves a round of applause. So thanks a lot for bringing this together, guys. Now about our company AI CoreSpot, let me give a brief about the same. We commenced its journey around 4 years ago to establish a focal point for knowledge in different technologies, emerging technology, which is AI, ML, robotics, IoT, and amongst many other areas. Our webinars aim to impart cutting-edge technological developments within the industry. Each month, we explore different technology mechanisms or realms, introducing free themes and continuously expanding our reach. We aspire to cultivate the foremost AI-centric community globally, inviting like-minded individuals to join in our collective progression and knowledge-sharing sessions. By conducting webinars and hybrid events supported by industry insights, we anchor our learnings in trustworthy information provided by esteemed experts and all our valuable partners till now. We also curate content across digital mediums. We have different mediums which includes blogs, videos, podcasts, and newsletters to illuminate the rapidly changing tech landscape. Now turning to today's webinar for which you all are here for, we have got a very compelling subject on the agenda, which is winning and keeping customers for long-term success. Our speakers will delve into significant aspects such as customer acquisition, retention, technology and innovation going on in the landscape, competitive differentiation, how the marketing innovation is there, and much more topics which is within the telecom and cable market space. The expert panel is set to offer substantial insight and spark enriching discussions, which is not to be missed by any one of you. So let's begin with some key pointers. Acknowledgements to all our community partners for their pivotal role today, which includes Brightspeed and InfoVision. Immense thanks to all of the attendees who took their time and energy. Your energy and your engagement is crucial in reaching your objectives and networking with the fellow peers. So thanks a lot for coming together. Our primary mission as a company is to facilitate access to valuable knowledge and fostering significant connections. So at the end of the session, if you learn some innovative concepts or leverage new connections, we'll consider it a great effort from our side. Now it's my pleasure to introduce our distinguished speakers for today. So let me introduce them one by one. Our first speaker for today is Alok Shukla, who is industry expert in the telecom space. Our second speaker is Sham Suri, who is Vice President Information Technology at Brightspeed. And our third speaker and moderator for the event is Vivek Parmar, who is Chief Business Officer handling telecom, media, and technology space at InfoVision. So before handing over the stage to Vivek, let me put a disclaimer. Opinions expressed by the speakers are their personal ones. It's not representative of their associated organizations. So with that said, without wasting time, I pass on the stage to Vivek to steer this captivating panel discussion. Over to you, Vivek.
Thank you so much, Nitin. And welcome to today's panel, everyone. This is a topic that is very crucial to the future of telecom and the cable and broadband market in general, driving success in customer acquisition and retention. So in an industry that is as dynamic and competitive as ours, understanding and mastering the art of attracting and keeping customers is more important than ever. And the cost of acquiring new customers is rising. We all know that. And the challenge of maintaining existing customer loyalty is also growing. With further technological advancements, shifting of the customer expectations and disruption of the new market entrants, Businesses in these sector are under a lot of pressure to differentiate themselves. How do you kind of acquire new customers and retain your existing base? So our discussion today aims to delve deep into these strategies and practices that can help companies drive success and thrive in this kind of an environment. And in today's panel, we will dive into some of the core elements that drive success in these areas. Specifically, we will examine topics like customer acquisition. How do we effectively leverage and attract new customers in a saturated or a greenfield market? What roles do different digital marketing techniques, personalized offers, customer segmentation, for example, plays in acquiring these new customers in the age of constant connectivity? Another important thing that we'll cover is the whole retention business. While acquiring customers is crucial, retaining them is even more important, in my opinion. So, how can these service providers ensure long term customer loyalty in a market which is flooded with choices for everyone? What role does customer service, customer experience, ongoing engagement plays in maintaining a loyal customer base? And no discussion, of course, is complete without talking about technology and innovation, right? In this ever evolving sector, the technological innovation is a key driver for both acquisition and retention, whether it's through the use of data analytics, you take AI driven personalization, you take next gen network capabilities like 5G or fiber optics. The ability to leverage technology to deliver a superior service is very critical to success. The role of data cannot be shortchanged in any way. Data is the lifeblood of customer acquisition and retention, and during the course of the conversation we will focus on that. We will talk about things like how can service providers leverage customer data and insights to create a more aligned, targeted, personalized and effective campaigns. We have some great insights on that, so stay tuned. We'll also discuss some best practices in data driven decision making, and some of the experts that we have on the panel have had tremendous success and case studies to share on that. Um, the other important aspect of things that we'll talk about is about customer retention programs and customer experience. It's not just enough to meet customer expectation. That's a given, right? So providers have to exceed them. How can companies enhance their customer experience at every touch point, from sales to support to increasing loyalty? How do we go about doing it, right? So we'll explore successful retention programs, certain customer engagement tactics, and loyalty initiatives that our panels have had experience with. Uh, Not only that, we will also focus on one important bit, which is the innovative marketing techniques in terms of how can you segment your customers based on their channel affinity. We got an omni-channel experience that every customer now goes through, and we'll talk a little bit about how can we simplify that omni-channel experience for them. Last but not the least, stay tuned for some very interesting case studies and topics, which we will share from real world examples and best practices that we've seen some of the leading companies talk about. So we, like Nitin mentioned, right, we had the fortune of having some great panel of experts within us today who bring in a wealth of knowledge from the industry on this topic, and they will share their insights to how to effectively navigate all these topics of customer acquisition, retention, sustainable growth, and customer loyalty. Our goal at the end of the day is to provide you with some actionable takeaways and some networking opportunities to drive growth and success in this area. So without much further ado, let's start diving into the topics and have this conversation. So let me start off at a strategic level, right? First, and then we'll dive deep into the specifics. So Alok, maybe we can start with you first. So what do you think are some of the most effective strategies of acquiring new customers in the digital landscape? Any thoughts on that?
Sure, thank you. Great panel, and thank you for that introduction. So I think, when I think of strategies for acquiring customers in the telecom space, media space that I've been operating in, there are really two themes that emerge. One is brand reinforcement, and the second is a strong NPS. So if we think about those two areas, we kind of are able to lay out a strategy and several tactics underneath how to get to those or achieve those goals. So what does brand reinforcement mean? How do we do that? We do that by engaging with our customers, with our prospects, educating them on a lot of things like, how to choose a provider, for instance, or what are the competitive advantages of one provider over the other? What is our advantage in terms of network? What does the local market need? We have to be engaging with our local markets, with our target customers, and keeping them educated, informed about the decision that they are going to be making, whether it is acquiring the new service, signing up for the new service, or shifting, switching from one provider to the other. So, we do this in B2B space a lot. I think there is something to be learned, carried over into B2C space, where we are directly engaging with the customers and bringing them on board with the product or service that we are selling. And the second aspect of the strategy should be, how do we do everything to strongly enforce or reinforce our NPS growth? And NPS is an indicator of not only how well we are running our operations, but it is also the word of mouth that goes out in the market space. And so our prospects are hearing about that. Not only they are educated from our first point, but from the second, they're talking to their friends and family, and they're saying, oh yeah, this company does well. Their NPS is good. They provide better service, better support, better pricing, and whatever else. But at the end of the day, those two factors drive the engagement with the brand, the recognition of the brand, and maybe the stickiness of the brand. And the customer wants to feel good about which brand they're engaging with. That's how they feel good about it. They are educated about the service and product, and they know that once they do sign up or they become a paying customer, they will be taken care of. So that's the NPS that comes into play. So I would talk about those two areas.
Very nice, actually, Alok, and the whole fact about the localization is very interesting, and we'll get into the personalization aspects of it later in the discussion. Any insights, Shyam, from your side?
Yeah. First of all, good morning, everyone, and thanks for having me here, AI Course Part. So to answer your question and to add to what Alok has already said, right? Vivek, you touched on earlier about saturated market versus greenfield. And, also there is another aspect of it, especially in US telecom landscape. There is urban versus rural as well, right? So depending on where you're operating, there could be different strategies that you could apply. And typically, people think that in rural market, digital may not work. But what we have found at Brightspeed is that that's not true. Many customers these days would like to first get on digital, learn the content, learn about the product and services before they make the decision, right? Of course, they may engage with you in terms of conversion on a door-to-door landscape, but typically, digital plays a very important role even in rural market, right? Now, in terms of saturated and greenfield, if you look at it, there are different strategies you apply, right? In a saturated environment where there are already competitors, the competition is heavy, and then in that case, you look for how your product differentiates from your competitors, right? What's the brand differentiation? Alok touched on it as well. Based on that, you build strategies to come up with campaigns that puts your unique proposition out there for customers to see, and that typically works very well. In a greenfield environment, for example, when we first started at Brightspeed 2 years ago, we were brand new. Nobody knew about our company. So the goal there was to educate the customers about your brand to begin with and your services. So typically in those cases, the strategies you take are like, first of all, publish a lot of content using content marketing as a strategy, right? Publish a lot of content and then educate the customers that about your presence by sponsoring local events and things like that. Then slowly, start educating what your value proposition is. Recently, our company did a campaign about, Ray the Troll, where, the troll was frustrated and he was trolling all over because of frustration of not having good, broadband service. After converting into a Brightspeed customer with fiber internet service, he changed his mind and he became a loyal, promoter of broadband service. So things like that will resonate with the customers, and probably they're all meant to educate the customers about the differentiation of the brand and offer a value proposition on why that makes sense. Now, nothing, of course, there are traditional strategies. We can talk all day, like paid ads is an example that brings heavy demand and traffic into your digital landscape, where customer search in Google and your especially if you're a new company in that environment, you better make sure your website link comes on top of the list, right? So paid ads and Google search keyword based bidding is a great strategy to do that, to bring demand into your website and then take them through the path of education. There are other things like data-driven personalization is another example, which you add further layers on top of your core strategies of how you do it. But being in technology, I want to also touch on how you enable these things to begin, right? Those are strategies, but there is technology behind it in marketing technology space that enables this. The key to enabling all these different strategies is to implement a closed loop marketing technology stack. Like for example, your campaign systems that you use to send campaigns on email, social media, and all that, they need to be tied with a robust customer data platform that allows you to build audiences for different segments and so on and so forth. And a flexible product catalog system is a must, so that you can launch offers, discounts, and things like that. That needs to be part of your stack. And of course, when the customers come in to place the order, the experience needs to be personalized and better and easy to go with, right? So with the right strategy on your marketing technology stack and some of the proven strategies that we discussed, basically you can set yourself up for success in terms of acquisition. That helps.
Interesting. What was pertinent was that some of the points that you mentioned around localization, which echoed with what Alok also mentioned, localization and personalization. So we'll talk about that in the subsequent question too. But staying with you, Shyam, can you help us from your experience tell about what role does the customer experience itself plays in the acquisition process, right? I'm sure you would have run so many of these campaigns. So are there any standout examples that you have from some of your experience around this area?
Yeah. See, in my mind, customer experience is the foundation for a potential customer's perception of your brand. So, in a telecom where service offerings are similar across all providers, customer experience becomes the key differentiator, right? So, how customer experience impacts your acquisition process. First impressions. So if you focus on your customer experience, it has a huge influence on their decision making in terms of engaging and converting, right? And also other things like providing transparency and clarity play a big role as well. In telecom, often you've seen companies using that as a strategy as well, right? Where hey, I'm Un-carrier like, means no contracts, no taxes, and things like that. Those strategies are meant to provide clarity and transparency and simplicity of the buying experience, right? And of course, creating, like I mentioned, Brightspeed's Ray the Troll campaign. It is meant to create that type of memorable content, right? People can easily remember something. Remember Verizon's Can you hear me now? It still it's been a long time, but
Yeah.
we still remember that because it is something that memorable and people can relate to it, and it stays, and that plays a huge role when it comes to customers engaging and converting, right? Of course, there are other things, omni-channel, experience, and of course, these days nothing goes without talking about AI. How can you use AI to do better personalization and improve the customer experience? All those are the examples, and some of the other things, especially in a greenfield environment, that really work for us from a customer experience standpoint are like, let's say a customer, we provided great experience and they onboarded. Don't stop there, right? Use referral programs and word of mouth, and enable word of mouth based referrals to get them onboarded. For example, if one customer had a bad experience, use that as a promoter, right? Like by asking them to provide feedback on popular feedback aggregation websites like Trustpilot and a few, and Google reviews and things like that, where if your customers who had good experience say something, that becomes a automatic promoter for others to pick up from there, and that increases your overall success in acquisitions.
Interesting. Very interesting. Alok, any thoughts there before we move on to the next section?
Yeah, no, real quick, I think very valid points. I think customer experience when it comes to acquisition, there are two aspects to acquisition. One is the prospects, and two, the existing customers where you are trying to upsell or cross-sell. And, when it comes to prospects, when I was running a P&L for the premium services, add-on services to a rural satellite internet provider, I would, we had different products in our portfolio. Some of them white label, some of them co-branded. And when we looked at kind of a brand experience across all those products and the sign-up screens and things like that, it was all very different. So a unified brand experience and brand presentation is extremely a must. So one of the first things I had to do was to first make sure that when a prospect is looking at our products, they know that they are doing business with the Hughes in this case, that they're doing the business with the right company, that they value as a brand. So I think unifying that experience is a must. In the acquisition process, I used to create a lot of campaigns, weekly, monthly. And in the campaign process, the flow should be extremely straightforward. You highlight the value of the product or the price on the campaign itself, make it an easy decision for the customer to, in the digital space, click on, go to the buy cycle, and we'll get into that a little bit more of. But really simplifying the purchase process, again, we'll get into that a little bit later as well. Some of those go a long way, initiatives in terms of unifying the experience, making the simplifying the purchase process. The other thing I would like to say is, look, as marketers, we have to stay on top of the market need and as well as the timing of the offer. And I had a great example there. One of the examples there was data breaches used to be commonplace a few years back, and I think they still are. But we used to sell antivirus and PC protection as one of our add-on products. So, we used to run email campaigns. You know what response rates for email campaigns are, take rates for email campaigns are. But when we ran the campaign right after data breach was in the news, believe it or not, we more than doubled the take rate. So I think a very small example, but it just shows how staying close to the customer, looking at your data, and to Shyam's point about personalization. We targeted the customers who didn't have AV, who were prone to, who were certain demographic, certain geographic region, and got best results. So, staying close to the market and staying close to your customers.
Interesting. And in fact, picking up on your first point about prospects, right? I want to delve a little bit into the whole business of data analytics, right? Data is now the new oil, as they say, right? So how can, different enterprises and service providers leverage this whole data analytics business to identify and target potential customers? And one of the things that is often talked about is with this whole multi-channel, omni-channel experience, how do you ensure that data exchange between channel happens properly, right? Shyam, any thoughts on that, and any experience that you have on that?
Let me break your question into two parts, Vivek. So first, how do you leverage data analytics to identify prospects and target them, right? So, at Brightspeed, when we started 2 years ago, we literally started this from scratch. So pretty close to my heart. Every company will have first party data. If you look at Brightspeed, we have a footprint where we're enabling the fiber service. So we have the address data with us, right? On which households now are open for sale, we know that. But the key is it's not enough if you just have address. The days are gone where you send a mail and people look at it. Everybody throws that into trash. So how do you connect these customers on digital? That's the key. So how do you convert addresses into contacts is the first step of the process, right? So you first, there are many data, aggregation companies, third-party data sourcing companies that provide you these contacts. I worked with Axion and Experian and Claritas and things like that. So lots of such companies are there. They can take your address and come and provide possible, contact details of that household, right? Now, that's how you essentially convert your first party data and convert them into contacts to begin with on how you can connect with them. There are other strategies of reaching out to the like for like customers in that footprint by using popular social media and digital marketing platforms like Google and Instagram, and a lot of such things are there where you segment your customers into different things like families and depending on what your service offering is, and based on that you segment the customers into various buckets, and then you could use them to directly target them using these contacts that you develop, or you could reach out to them on social media using the like for like based matching. So that way you come up with an overall multi-channel approach on reaching out to your prospects, right? And then you could then take it further by implementing AI-based models where you can predict which type of customers would want which type of product combinations. Some of them are pretty easy to guess, like families would probably want streaming services on top of internet. And if you have kids, you then look for home-based, security and internet security-based products, parental controls. These are all value adds you add, and then you bundle them and then implement a multi-channel campaign orchestration system to target the customers into various in various channels, right? So like I mentioned earlier, we talked about having a CDP to be able to curate those audience. That becomes a crucial factor here. And then systems like Salesforce Marketing Cloud, there are a bunch of such technologies out there that you could use to implement orchestrations that to target various different channels to reach out to the customers, wherever they they are comfortable engaging with your company.
Interesting. And I'll pick your brain on the AI topic once more. And that's, I wanted to check on that because there is a pertinent question that has also popped up there. But before I move on to that, Alok, anything you wanted to add here?
I think let's keep going. I think the one highlight I'll just summarize is one is that when you create the marketing plan, make sure you capture the data needs across the omni-channel journey, across the omni-channel sales strategy. And then two, I think centralization and standardization of data is extremely important, so it can be shared and understood across different functional groups. I found that as an issue in the past. So I tend to focus on the process a little bit more on that front. But I think Shyam covered most of the other topics.
Yeah, and Shyam, picking up on the point you mentioned about AI, right? I mean, you've got data and now you have these AI tools available with you. And corporations in general are a little, I would say, wary and careful about a lot of aspects of using AI for customer acquisition, right? So what considerations do you believe overall one should keep in mind when you're using AI for customer acquisition? And there is a very pertinent question that is on the Q&A that one of the audience members has asked, which is, in the customer acquisition process, what is the importance given to customer privacy and security, especially as it pertains to AI, right? So if you have any example or the way you've used AI, that will be really useful to have. And Alok, like to get your thoughts also once Shyam is done on this.
Happy to provide some thoughts on that. See, the key considerations of using AI, if you want customers to trust your brand and engage with you, the key considerations are data privacy and compliance. Telecom is a regulated market, and there are rules around privacy and protections for data. There are CCPA and lots of such things, regulations where you need to protect the privacy of customers and prospects. So obtaining explicit consent and anonymizing the data wherever possible, because at the end of the day, look for most of the time like for like kind of audience matching and marketing works very well to a large extent, because you're trying to bring demand, and a little bit here and there is fine. You can it works in a larger scale. Second thing is avoiding bias, right? So usually that is a big consideration because you want diverse data sets, and you want to do regular audits of your data to make sure you are not making decisions with unconscious bias, right? Second thing is in terms of considerations, I always at this point at least I believe in keeping the human in the loop overall. So you could automate the whole campaign using the current AI technologies, but keep a human in the loop to add that extra layer of responsibility on what you're doing with AI, right? And then how do you use AI in customer acquisition? I don't know, Vivek, if you want me to touch on that right now, or
yeah, absolutely. Please, please feel free to touch it. Yeah, since we're talking about AI, let's touch upon that too. Yes.
Sure. See, enrichment of prospect data and lead scoring is an area where you can use AI in a big way, right? What do you mean by that, right? See, AI can enhance your prospect data much more easier with the new technologies than it used to be before, right? You are able to combine your internal data with third-party data and come up with fairly accurate profiles of your prospects or customers. And that is quite possible in this in the current scenarios because of the Gen AI and other advances in technology in the AI space, right? For example, Salesforce Einstein analyzes customer data and analyzes assigns scores and leads. In B2B environment, it is in use in a big way. So if your company has Salesforce ecosystem already, you could leverage out of the box features like that. Or these are the things with Gen AI, they have become much more easier to build on your own and assemble together a pipeline that produces the prospect data and lead scoring and so on. We touched on predictive analytics. This is in the past, we used to build a lot of models. Nowadays, those things have become much more simpler and easier and scalable to do it using the platforms and technologies that are there in the landscape. Using AI models to analyze historic data and predict potential customers' needs, and then personalizing your offerings according to that is a great example of that. And a couple of use cases we used. One of them is how do you use AI to predict whether the customer is going to convert real time during the session while they're shopping on your website based on the patterns. What products are they looking for? How far have they gone in your buy flow? Okay, based on that, you can have models to predict whether they're likely to convert or not. Then you can apply different strategies. If they're not likely to, they're touch and go kind of thing, you can offer an instant discount. You can pop it if you feel like they're confused about your offering or going back and forth in the learn content. You can offer a proactive chat to engage them and then provide instant answer and then help them move along and so on. One other important strategy that we used is using AI in the contact center channel, right? When customers call in, you have agents. Some of them are very good, some of them are average, some of them are new, they're still learning. How do you use what the best agent has done and use that to coach the other agents who are not that good or learning, right? So that way, if every agent behaves like the best agent, you have a winner out there, right? So that's how you can improve your close rates, you can improve your acquisition metrics and all those things. So fascinating times in terms of using AI in the martech space.
Well explained, Sham. Very nice. Alok, anything you wanted to add on this topic?
I think a couple of things when we are talking about considerations for AI. Sham touched upon the human aspect, and I'm big on that. I think human Q&A is extremely important at this stage, particularly knowing the biases, knowing about the data, inconsistencies, and so on. But I think the other area that I guess thinking about from an MROI standpoint, AI is an iterative process. And so as we are dealing and working with the models and applying them to specific campaigns, or whether it's personalization or targeting, I think we need to keep the attribution in mind, meaning how does the AI technology help us deliver better campaign performance in a specific case? So build that knowledge, build that understanding at the ground level, and make sure all the teams are organized around it, so they're not overlooking this tracking and reporting and this business case validation as a second step. It is an integral part of employing all of our AI strategies and the tactics that we just talked about. I think, when we talk of the examples, similar to what Shyam was saying, I think digital twins has been great in terms of understanding consumer behavior. Real-time journey intervention. I'm big on that, and we'll touch upon that hopefully later in the session. Real time is probably what's coming next in AI. I don't think we are there yet, and I'd love to hear Shyam's thoughts on that. But I think we use what we call near real time journey intervention. It goes both for prospect buy cycle as well as existing customers buy cycle or troubleshooting cycle, digital journeys particularly. So there is a lot going on there, a lot to expect in the coming days. Product recommendation in the shopping cart, or as the customer is completing the journey. Those are some of the areas we have used for a long time. I think it continues to evolve and gets better.
Very nice, very nice. All right, let me just switch gears a little bit. And Alok, I'm getting to a topic that is close to your heart, which is, segmenting and improving marketing effectiveness overall. So, we talked about this whole multi-channel experience that the customer goes through. Uh, what kind of thoughts do you have on, how can segmenting customers based on their channel affinity can improve the effectiveness of your campaign, right? So, any thoughts around that will be helpful for us to understand. And as we go along, I mean, you can also talk about how you can make that process more frictionless for the customer's purchase process. So, we'd love to hear what
Journey.
you thoughts are there. Yeah, the journey overall. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. No, that is I would start with this. In our business schools, we learn 4 Ps, and product, play, price, place, and promotion. And I think we tend to think of product and price and promotion a lot. And we have just been talking about, targeting, making sure the product features are right on where the customer needs. Pricing is highly competitive in this space, and so pricing is right up there. Promotion, we are talking about, creating right campaigns, right buy cycles, and so forth. Places where, you know, customers like to buy certain products in certain areas, and this is probably a little bit more in scope, wider in scope than just in telecom. But I think making a purchase is an emotional decision, and oftentimes some of these decisions need validation. So what I mean is, a customer needs to talk to an agent, whether it is in a retail setting or in a care setting, to really make sure that, is this the right thing for me? How understand what the fine print is and things of that nature. That helps to enhance or improve the buy cycle. And I'll take a very good example we had back in the day. I used to sell, as an add-on service, I used to sell equipment warranty product. And if you try to sell equipment warranty online through various digital marketing channels, you would be, almost negligible response rate compared to what I'm about to share. But when we took that through the retail channel, where customers, and Shyam had mentioned rural markets, I used to operate in North America rural market, and we had sales centers across all states, and the customers in these markets tend to still go into a retail environment, talk to the person, understand what their needs are, understand. They're not technologically savvy, so they are really leaning on the agent to understand what should they really get. And as part of that sales cycle, this equipment warranty used to be an add-on service that the agents were able to sell. So believe it or not, at that rate, with that approach to, we only plan our marketing budget for equipment warranty to be sold through retail channels. We were able to get 75% plus attach rates, which was unheard of. And so just the narrowing down our focus, talk of all the stuff we're talking about, personalization, targeting, channels, promotions, we narrowed down the focus on certain products to that particular channel and gained hugely in terms of the attach rates, and makes the customer feel good. The thing that I always follow up on is, well, what are the benefits? Did you realize any benefits? Yes, you got better attach rates. But I think what an intangible benefit, I guess, from our marketing perspective, but real tangible for sales agents, was that we were able to reshuffle our marketing budget and allocate more towards sales and agent incentive. So agents are happy, they are getting more money out of the sale, and customers are happy because now they're buying a product that they believe in. Equipment warranties, you don't need it, you never use it, you are almost like, why do I have it? It's almost like insurance. So, but to feel good about and validated about that purchase is why channel affinity becomes important. A lot of other services and products were sold online, which is why the journey experience becomes important. And I'm talking about the omni journey we talked about, we've been discussing. But when it comes to selling other products, we used to create this very simple online shopping purchase experience, e-commerce experience. And I've been a big proponent of one-click e-commerce experience. And what that means is, if I've browsed and I've liked a certain price or a product or a service, I click on it. At that point, I don't need to go through 15 different steps to tell you who I am, where I live, what's my number, what's my credit card, what's the account number, and all of that. So, very simple example was when I launched a new service, VoIP service, voice over IP service for the rural customers. We simplified the buy and activation flow to an extent where it literally was one click. VoIP, you've understood, you need VoIP. Once you click on that, you are taken to a screen where we have taken your MAC numbers for your devices. We have taken all of your information in a logged in screen environment. And all you have to do is agree to terms and conditions and you're done. So I think that is what I'm talking about, the channel affinity aspect, as well as optimizing really the journey experience in a digital space that really fosters, that really promotes that one-click e-commerce experience.
Nice, very nice. I'm taking up questions as we go along because I have the chat window. I'm utilizing those questions to kind of delve into topics in many ways. So there is this question that has come up which talks about the churn. So, Shyam, you mentioned about AI for the acquisition side of it, right? But, are there any thoughts that you have? How can AI be used to predict customer churns, and what kind of actions can you take to prevent it? And one of the questions that we have here is, how do you identify at-risk customers? That's what I see there. And what specific actions do you take to re-engage them proactively and reduce the likelihood of churn? So I want to combine that along with the AI thing and see if there is something that you've observed that may be of importance to anybody in the audience.
Absolutely. So how can AI be used to predict churn, right? So historically speaking, before AI became really popular, there were always churn models before anything else. Using different techniques, but overall, if you look at it, in a telecom space, at the end of the day, customers, there are two things are important for the existing customers. One is the customer experience. Second one is network performance, period. Everything boils down. I mean, there are lots of, when you go deeper, there are they basically go into multiple dimensions, but they all boil down to these two aspects. And on top of it is your churn. So that's what we have found when we were doing deeper analysis at Verizon to improve the Net Promoter Score. We found that these two aspects play a big role in and have direct correlation with churn, right? So then we built models that scores these two aspects. Means you can come up with a score for customer experience based on the data that you have on customer interactions, what kind of troubles they're having that they're interacting with us, how their shopping behavior is, how are they using the mobile app, how are they using their network, what kind of devices. There are so many aspects of it that can define how the customer's experience is. Once you have a score on that, right, then the other part is network performance. Obviously, customers are using these days internet for everything. Everybody, most of the people still working from home, and there are kids who are doing streaming services, this and that. So network performance, even for a second, if there is a blip, people will notice it, unlike before, right? So network performance is that also is a very key aspect of it. Now, based on, and you have data. Being in telecom, you have data around how your network performed, and you can be really granular about a location or an area where, and you can build scores around how your network has performed, and you can add other KPI like how many outages, mean time between resolution, so on and so forth. All that you could add, and you will be in a better position to predict the churn. Now, predicting churn is one part of it, right? And then how do you prevent churn is the other aspect of it. Now, let's say you do have a churn score that is fairly predicting. And like Alok touched on earlier, in terms of real-time marketing, even in churn also, it would be great if you can do the scoring real time based on real time data, right? It's not easy, but with the modern technologies, streaming data and and scoring these models has become a reality these days, right? So once, let's say you have that, the ability to predict churn real time, then you can apply different strategies around it. You can personalize retention offers, and then you can be proactive about it. Let's say a customer's score has been good so far, but it is dipping now. Then you apply proactive strategies to proactively either reach out to them or offer discounts or loyalty points, this and that, to ensure that you are changing the curve there, the customer experience score curve, right? Uh, so things like that. And other techniques we have used is looking at social media chat, right? And feedback customers are giving on popular feedback websites like Trustpilot, and all these things. So, and tying them back with the agents in the care centers, right? So that, and providing incentive based performance plans for the agents, based on how they score on these different aspects, right? So that way you're putting a closed loop ecosystem where your agents are incentivized to do well and provide better customer experience. Your customer, you are doing proactive approach, so customers feel like they are being heard, and that's how you can improve your overall net promoter score. And of course, there are a bunch of metrics that you can monitor to identify how you're doing in these aspects. Net promoter score is a great metric that everybody follows. And using those techniques, you measure, rinse and repeat, how you improve the closed loop, how you improve, what are the other things you're looking at that you can put into your prediction models, what are the other things you can do to improve your strategies, and overall you can improve your net promoter score and overall retention in a big way using those things.
Interesting. Alok, anything that you wanted to add?
This is very important. Churn is obviously a great topic and deep topic. I think service quality, Shyam already touched upon. That's number one, always. If I have the best product, then it falls on the price and the brand value, and which I wanted to draw attention to as well. Price wars are common, right? How do we manage that? Creating another offer which is cheaper than the market is only going to get us that far. And someone else is going to better that. But the way we do that is actually taking AI, taking some of the initiatives we talk about, troubleshooting through self-service. Cut down the agent costs. We did some initiatives at Verizon where we were able to draw down the call volumes into the call centers. We were able to draw some of the self-service initiatives where draw upon some of the self-service initiatives where we were able to let the customer finish what they came in for. And this goes back to that CX part as well, that letting the customer complete the tasks that they came to our website for. And there are a lot of those kind of individual tasks that the customers engage with us on digitally. Reduce the operating costs, pass on the savings to the customer. That's big. Brand value, brand value goes beyond that. I have the greatest service, for instance, or I have the greatest price. It goes to how much deeper does the customer engage with the brand. I'll tell you a simple example. I get Netflix from Verizon at a much discounted rate. Even with extra $10 to pay per month, I'm not going to sign up for Netflix if I didn't have it at a discounted rate from Verizon. Those kind of discount products, I've been in value-added business, have done a lot of that, and seen the customer stickiness with those products. We will get that extra lifetime value because of that. So I think retention is really creating all of that, doing what we do best, making sure that our prices and the costs stay competitive, and then we are creating that extra brand value for the customer.
Interesting. On the topic of brand value, right? And as we are closing towards the end of the session, there are couple of topics that I wanted to touch upon. So on the topic of brand value itself, so the brand messaging overall needs to be consistent. Again, I'm coming back to the whole omni-channel thing across the channels that you have. So how can enterprises and service providers ensure that their brand message remains consistent throughout the customer journey? Any thoughts around that area? Anybody of you, I mean, whosoever wants to go.
I think that's what our brand marketing team did full time. That making sure the only thing that they were leaving out was, as I mentioned earlier, in some cases, a smaller product or a service or a value-add product or a service was co-branded or did not quite have the look and the feel. And when I say look and the feel, consistent with the brand image, simple things like what is the color palette, right? We used to create campaigns that would be, would totally look different during end of the year, during Halloween, during other holiday times of the year. But overall, the customer should be engaging and knowing that they are working with the brand and they are getting the value from the brand. So I think, a holistic strategy, like I said, when we create a marketing plan, we consider all the campaigns and the campaign calendars and the channels. And then we make sure that we work with the branding team to ensure that all of the brand image and brand perceptions and the brand creatives are all consistent. So, a lot of cross collaboration across teams, making sure that as a marketing operations exec, you're engaging the right people in the company to push for that agenda.
So, let me add one interesting thought that came to my mind. I think AI has a big role to play, and potential disruption is possible here, in my opinion. Like Alok touched on, typically you have a branding team that is overall responsible for defining your branding and then ensure working with all different stakeholders to make sure all communications, everything that you're showing to external like customers is staying on brand, right? Now that requires a lot of work, right? That's where I feel like AI can play a big role, where you can come up with just an outline and give it to Gen AI or ChatGPT for that matter, and you define what your brand guidelines are. It would give you or validate your messaging to see if it is on brand or not, right? So there are opportunities like that, in my opinion, where Gen AI could be used in a disruptive way to really cut down on the time required to coordinate or go over every single aspect of it in a manual way. You could just create a Gen AI service where anything that you come up with, pass it through it, and you already tuned it for your brand guidelines. It will tell you whether it is meeting your brand standards or not, right?
Yeah.
So just a thought.
Oh, very interesting, very interesting. Yeah, in fact, we can leverage some of these technology bits to look at those aspects about having a consistent experience. So well put, both of you. So the last topic, so to say, I wanted to cover was, we've talked about all this acquisition and retention and everything. The tracking of these part is something that I wanted to discuss. So there are these KPIs and matrices that we have in place, right, which track the success of both acquisition as well as retention, and specifically with respect to the effectiveness of, say, for example, an AI driven acquisition strategy or a retention strategy which is tied to an AI thing, because that's something new for all of us. What are you seeing in the market and what matrices are being tracked, etc.? If you could throw some light on that, that would be useful and a good way to conclude this session for us. Any one of you, Shyam, you want to go first? I'm okay. Yeah.
Sure. So traditionally, there are metrics that everybody follows, like cost of acquisition, lifetime value, your close rates. And in telecom, you have this, especially in wireline, you have address qualification, which where you can measure how much of demand you're generating, where how many prospects are coming in and trying the address qualification, and how many we are able to qualify, right? So there is this lead to opportunity rate and a demand versus intent rate. All these things are typically measured. With respect to your question on AI-driven acquisition, what other measures can you do, right? I touched upon network performance score and customer experience score. These are how accurate are they working? Like I mentioned about closed loop. So using the closed loop mechanism and constant feedback, you need to you have a way to measure the accuracy of those models, right? Lead scoring, we talked about it, where AI could be used in the acquisition realm, right? So how is the lead scoring, accuracy looking like, right? You using AI, you predicted that this could be a lead that can convert. Did that lead really convert? Based on that, you can come up with lead scoring accuracy models. Also, there are for customer experience, typically businesses do A/B testing, right? So using A/B testing, you can see, hey, is this working versus that one? Which one is doing better? So there are measures and that you can do to come up with better experience on a regular basis. Same thing, audience score. In every aspect of acquisition and retention, you have different metrics. In every one of them, you have AI models that are scoring those predictions. How is the accuracy trending over a period of time? Are you introducing bias anywhere there? So these are the things you would want to measure.
Interesting, Shyam. Thank you so much. Yeah, Alok, any thoughts on this aspect which you would like to add?
Yeah, I think when we talk of metrics, for every initiative there will be different metrics, and what I mean by that is when you talk of AI models, there could be accuracy metric that we can look at. There could be false positives, the bias, and all of that. Campaign performance, online journeys, call rates, cart abandons, things like that. So all of those are very specific to each campaign, each initiative. But when I look at KPIs, I try to create an umbrella that really delivers the bottom line results. And there are three KPIs that I would emphasize. One is the CPA, the cost per acquisition. That is showing your marketing effectiveness across all of the initiatives. It could be AI-driven personalization, targeting, product feature enhancement, and what have you. The second one is customer lifetime value. So that talks about, again, a lot of the initiatives, campaigns, journey experiences. But at the end of the day, how long does the customer, what's the customer stickiness, all the retention acquisition exercise? Do I have the right customers, and do I have the customer lifetime value staying good or improving? And the third and the most important, which probably drives all of this, is CSAT/NPS. So customer satisfaction, who are my current customers? Are they satisfied? If they are telling me yes, and if the net promoter score is in the green zone for my industry and for my company, then I am good. So, metrics we track for each initiatives and campaigns and so forth, and models and AI and all that. But when it comes to KPIs, focus on CPA, CLTV, and CSAT, and we have a winner.
And Vivek, one other interesting metric we recently implemented that came to my mind, I want to share. In Gen AI space, right? Hallucination is a big concern, right? So we were wondering, how do you, when we rolled out Gen AI use case, we were wondering, how do you measure the hallucination aspect of this model, right? So interestingly, we came up with another Gen AI model that basically watches this Gen AI model, whether it is hallucinating or not, right? So based on that, we built a score to say, okay, the hallucination rate is this, and then we work towards, okay, pull that data, try to identify in what area, what conditions it happened, and then try to bring that down. So it worked very effectively.
Very interesting. See, I mean, these were the kind of insights that really make the day for the audience. And thanks a lot, Shyam and Alok, for these wonderful insights. I know we can talk on and on. I've got like 5 other topics that I can pick up, but in the interest of time and the fact that we have to close now, I'll just like to conclude this discussion topic today. This, of course, will be available on multiple different channels for people to look at later on. But thanks once again. It was truly insightful. The fact that we were able to relate to so many real world examples is what really made this very effective from both of you. So Shyam, Alok, wonderful having you on the panel today, and thanks a lot for taking out time to share your experiences.
Thank
Thank you, Vivek, and
Thanks.
thank you, AI CoreSpot team. Thank you.
Thank you, Alok. Let me put a concluding remarks as well from AI CoreSpot side, so that we can close this webinar for today. First of all, we would like to express from AI CoreSpot side our appreciation to all our community partners who have been us from beginning. Our distinguished speakers, Alok, Shyam, and moderator Vivek, and all the attendees who engaged in this forum. We are sure, as I was listening to the whole discussion, the way we went into the minute details, discussed the key matrices, discussed in details about customer acquisition and retention, it has given lots of knowledge enrichment and thought process to take back and put the same into practice into our areas where we are or want to work for. As our panel members were outstanding, thank you for coming together and sharing the valuable insights to all the audience. In case anyone missed out any part of the session, as said by Vivek, want to revisit it, today's event will be available on our company's YouTube page for your convenience. You can go back and see it anytime. Exciting technological advancements, as we know, are on the horizon, and we are thrilled to explore more in this year and the coming year as well. We have prepared a calendar till December for the next year. So looking ahead, we have a diverse lineup focusing on different sectors such as banking, finance, insurance, telecom, retail, healthcare, supply chain, manufacturing, and we keep on adding the different industries as we move along. So stay connected with us for continuous learning. For more technological updates, visit our website and social media channels. We'll be sharing wealth of knowledge, including details, announcement for our upcoming events, and much more, which will help you in doing the registrations and seeing all the events. We look forward to your support. Please like and share our content on the social media. Heartfelt thanks to InfoVision, who is our knowledge and innovation partner, and Digit7, who is our technology partner. Explore their websites at infovision.com to dive deeper into technological advancements which they are doing. We as a company enjoyed bringing this session to you and hope you found it as enjoyable as we did. We eagerly anticipate more sessions with you in the near future. Till that time, take care and have a great day and year ahead. Thank you.
Thanks, guys, and good seeing you, Shyam.